21st Century Learners and Their Classrooms. This is Paige Freeman, Ashland University. 21st century learning is a hot topic in the world of education right now, and people are wondering what it all entails. There are many concerns that educators, administrators, and parents are asking, such as, what is a 21st century learner? How will it change education today? What changes need to be made? And how will this affect you as an educator? I urge you to look at this new outlook as positive as possible because change is inevitable. The world as we know it is becoming more and more technologically based, and as practiced lifelong learners, teachers need to be up for this change and experience it and embrace it. The 21st century learner is based around three principles: learning and innovation skills, information, media, and technology skills, and life and career skills. A 21st century learning experience is around a revolutionary idea that stems up from our up-and-coming youth that have been raised in a tremendously technologically advanced environment. These students have been given iPads, iPhones, tablets, computers, video games since they were old enough to speak, or in some cases even younger. I'm sure many of you can picture a toddler, or even younger in some cases, that is not even old enough, or not even able to sing their ABCs, but they know how to slide to unlock an iPhone or an iPad of some sort, or how to find their favorite video or video game on that device. As we have spoken about before in this course, those students are called digital natives, and they are digital natives because they are accustomed to the fast-paced, tech-driven world that we now live in. These students must have a high stimulus activities to engage them thoroughly within content at school. And student motivation oftentimes stems from social and emotional influences, since they're constantly connected to their peers and media through technology that we have at our fingertips. These students tend to be more drawn towards digital books and viewing information on the web, and they're very familiar with technology. We as educators, unfortunately, are then referred to as digital immigrants, since we were not brought up in that type of time period. I mean, just think 10 years ago, this was not a very common thing, so the majority of us, this is all new, and we have to learn as we go. But taking this understanding and applying it to what we teach is the basis of 21st century learning. And 21st century learning is basically just taking the standards that we already have and enhancing them to target life and career skills, learning and innovation skills, that information, media, and technology skills that I spoke about before, and combining them with the traditional 3 R's and 4 C's, which most of us know the 4 C's as critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. And basically that is taking those 4 C's and putting them through real life situations by assigning project-based learning activities that allow the students to kind of come up with their own discoveries. One of my resources, Blair 2012, says, in this configuration, the teacher acts as a catalyst, orchestrating and facilitating activities that spark defining moments for students. This then leads to kind of allowing the student to focus on their own learning a little bit by themselves. And because digital natives are so focused on receiving that information quickly and efficiently, it opens up for interdisciplinary milestones, as the Partnership for 21st Century Skills has listed their advancements with global awareness, financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civic literacy, health literacy, and environmental literacy. This high-level thinking creates a stronger learning environment for the students and then implements those critical thinking skills through those project-based and hands-on learning scenarios. According to the Ohio Department of Education, the increased availability of online courses and commercially available products in the past 10 years has given students greater access to a wide range of non-traditional language learning options. These options then can allow us to look at the process as a way to integrate our curriculum into the new sets of standards set forth by the 21st century learning. And why not allow our students to collaborate with students of other locations, other schools, different counties, countries, around the world, and learning about the world outside of their own. There's many students that grow up in small towns like here in Ashland their whole life and end up going in through a culture shock when they go out to college or out in the world beyond that. And we could help prevent them and prepare them for what's out there by using tools. With change, there's always some tensions. And unfortunately, the word change in education is often viewed as a terrible thing to most educators. So the biggest tension I see happening with this is the fact that the digital immigrants are not going to accept this change. While doing my research, I found a professor of education and early reading expert that's at the University of Tennessee named Richard Allington. And Mr. Allington writes, quote, "I think we actually could teach everyone to read the old way, and for the life of me, I cannot understand why schools would spend funds on computers when their libraries are almost empty of things students might want to read. The research to date has provided no evidence that having either computers or whiteboards in schools has any positive effect on students' reading and writing proficiencies," end quote. This limited understanding of what true 21st century learning should actually look like and what it all entails is what I think is going to create the most tension. Beyond that, teachers oftentimes get set in their ways and they don't want to change their instructional approach, or they're convinced it won't work instead of trying it. So I feel that along those same lines, there are some teachers who will be completely against it, and there will be some teachers who will want to do it but don't know how. And that's where some of the changes need to be brought in, as I'll talk about in a moment. The last thing is that some of the teachers, I think, will have a problem allowing the students to be more involved with their instruction and choosing what they want to learn about because they feel it's a control factor, or that some of the students won't take it seriously. But if we start this at a very young age and students are brought up in a different mentality in the classroom, I don't think it would be that difficult to do so. And all students have an interest in something they'd like to learn about. It's human nature. So the changes that need to be made are constant access to technology, having a student-centric classroom, using collaborative learning, differentiation, and having access to all students having access to a computing device whenever they need one. This goes along with teachers needing to change their instructional approach. The change that needs to happen is that they need to focus more on having a student-centric classroom and collaborative learning, and actually teaching students how to be a collaborative learner the proper way and how to work in those groups. I mean, our world is changing, and if we want to help students become functioning, successful working member of our society, we need to prepare them for what the road ahead is going to be. And yes, physically using technology is a piece of this new age puzzle, but it's more of a way of thinking that needs to be changed. Schools can no longer solely rely on rote memorization, teacher lecturing, and note-taking, and everything needs to change to meet the needs of our students because they're growing up in a time that is more advanced than it has been in the past. And as lifelong learners, we should be acceptable of that. Many teachers, when they read my paper or they see this video, they may think, well, how in the world is this going to happen to all grade levels? And there's no way that each grade level can be able to implement this. And I myself am a kindergarten teacher. I've been teaching 3 years, and I'm here to tell you that yes, even kindergarten can do this. And a lot of the things that we already do already kind of align with it. You know, kindergarten teachers must always be student-centric. Kindergartners are basically preschoolers up until about October, and instruction is based solely off what they know and a little bit of a combination of what we want them to know by the end of the year. And we have to kind of go at their pace, and I feel that most teachers do that, but ours is a little bit more intense considering many of them had never even been to school before ever. So we have to hit all of the basic concepts, you know, things of school rules, procedures, and creating that mutual respect in the classroom, but also trying to give the students their own independency. And through with that is creating a safe to fail environment for students to be able to ask their questions and know what they want to do. And that can be done by signing behavior contracts, or, you know, making a classroom list of rules together as a class. You know, that these are things that elementary school teachers all do, I know. It's just kindergarten takes us a little bit longer since they're so little, and they don't have any prerequisite knowledge to go upon. What I think we should have to work on a little bit is having more performance-based assessments. Now, with that being said, all kindergarten grade cards, everything that's on the grade card has to be assessed one-on-one, because paper pencil tasks are not appropriate for kinders. And so many of the things that we do are performance-based assessments. But I think we need to focus on it a little bit more. Things that we do and will need support with this new change is having a low class size. I myself have 22 kindergartners with no aid, and sadly there are some days where I have 5 or 6 children absent, and it's amazing what we can get done within that day just having, you know, those kiddos not there. And sometimes I often think, if it were like that all the time, how much more project-based learning and hands-on learning and real-life situational learning experiences we'd be able to do. But it's very difficult to do when you have 22 of them. There's only one adult in the room because they do need so much guidance oftentimes. The other thing I see as being something that we as teachers don't really have control over but do need help with is access to technology. Kindergarten is usually an age where time in a computer lab and formal computer lessons are really not deemed necessary, which I would tend to agree with for the most part, but they still should have that basic knowledge of how to use it. And when you have upper grades, such as the 3rd graders taking the PARCC test, and your school, as my building does, only has 1 iPad cart and 1 laptop cart and 2 computer labs, but there are, you know, 250 3rd graders, that doesn't allow you to access any of that technology. And when you have to share all those things and sign them out to have them for a day or two, that doesn't mean you have constant access as the 21st century guidelines are proposing. But it would be possible for all these things to happen. What I have to show you is, this is a picture of a kindergartner from the Catherine Smith School. It was posted in an article called "We Were Wrong, a Lesson on Early Grades 21st Century Learning" by Erin Brigard. and Mr. Brigard is the principal of this school. And this is a little girl, one of the kindergartners, that is actually doing a demonstration on a project-based learning project that they were assigned on what to do about all the stray animals they have in their community. And people from the community, parents, and just people who wanted to come in to watch were able to come in. That board behind her she created with a little bit of help with her teacher, and the note cards she has, her teacher helped her create picture cues to remember what to say. And many of the students that completed this project are actually English as a second language learners, so that I found to be very intriguing. But there's the proof, in case you wanted to see it. There are lots of ways that I plan on creating a classroom environment that is 21st century oriented. I found a very resourceful website called www.mjds.org, and it had an article in there called Kindergartners Gaining Independence, Pride, and Increased Comfort Level with the iPad. And all the apps I'm going to show you are all for the iPad, that all can be used in the daily 5 routine, such as centers, however you want to call it, or even in other subject areas as well. So the first one I have to show you is Sketch. Sketch is a free app that the school that wrote this article actually uses to teach nouns with. They had the students go around the room and take a picture of a noun and then label it, which I found to be very intriguing, because that is how I start Writer's Workshop with kindergartners. I give them a packet of sticky notes, and they go around and they label the room. But if we could do this, we could actually make a book with it, or the students could make their very own book about things that they labeled. So I find that to be pretty cool. Next one is called Doodle Buddy, and it's kind of along the same scenario, except that picture that you can see is an illustration that someone made. And what you can actually do is add text to it. So it actually allows students to create their own book digitally, or you can print it off that way. So it allows them to write and draw and use a technology piece in that sense. Explain Everything is an app that's basically a whiteboard app. You can put a presentation on there. You can upload a piece of writing, and you can do shared reading with it, and talk about different pieces of speech that are within that. And I thought that would be really neat to have to use during Daily 5 as well. The next one is an iMovie, and that's where you can create your own movie and then edit it. This is also free. You can also play the video back and do a voiceover of it to explain what is going on in the video. So I thought that would be really neat on how to do a how-to video, which is what my kindergartners are learning about how to do right now, is writing how-to stories. The last one that I have on here is called, the second to last one that I have is called Vimeo. And Vimeo is also a free app that is used to edit and share videos. So say we could take those how-to videos, we could put them on Vimeo, and then I could actually link up the iPads to each kiddo in my class, and they could share the video just as a message to show each other what they made, as a different way of sharing their work. And you do it with a partner or small groups, or you could even send it to people around the world. So if we were connected to a class from a different country that we were messaging back and forth or having pen pals with, we could also do that. The next one is Show Me, which is another free app. The example on here is math, and the example that the website that I shared with you gave was that they gave the kids a story problem, a subtraction story problem, and the students had to video themselves solving a story problem, and then had to put their voice over on top of it to demonstrate how they solved it, and then they had to share it with a friend. So I thought that was a really awesome idea. And then one more that I thought of was just using PowerPoint like we did for our video for these presentations, and there's a link there to show you how you can make an ebook, which is awesome for centers, or to make a web quest with, and you can make it as lengthy or as short as possible, but you can link up pictures with a link to the web, and it allows them to go directly to what you want them to see instead of allowing them just to go willy-nilly, so to speak, on the internet, and it creates a safe search engine for them. There are a few apps that I already use in my classroom that I really think people should know about, and the first one is GoNoodle. GoNoodle is a research-based brain break, so to speak, website that has Zumba and yoga and just some silly dancing songs, and pretty much all the classrooms in my building use it. It works really well when you have lots of snow and the kids can't go outside and play, or right before you're getting ready to start a topic that might be a little in depth and they're losing their focus. This would be something that you could play. You know, the videos last anywhere from a minute to, I think, 3 minutes. And then there's actually a whole inside recess physical activities for them to do that's all guided by itself on the smart board. The next one is Extra Math, which is used by all the 3rd grade teachers in my building, and I am the only kindergarten teacher that uses it. It is a fact fluency online recording website, basically. It differentiates what fact families the students are comfortable with, and then tries to teach them 1 or 2 new facts every time they get on the computer to do it. And it logs all the correct and incorrect answers, the way I can see which facts we need to work on. And it also helps because it's basically flashcards, but it's a lot more fun and the kids get really excited. And I have had lots of success with it. And the last one that many people already know about is Remind 101. That is a safe way to text all the parents in your class if you do not want them to have your personal cell phone number. So this is a one-way texting app where you can send out a mass text to all of the parents in your classroom to remind them, you know, hey, tomorrow field trip, bring a sacked lunch, or remember tomorrow is science fair project day, make sure you have all your projects in, everyone can come at 5 o'clock, you know, and they cannot text you back in that sense. So it kind of works out well for both parties in the scenario. Teachers, administrators, and districts, we are in a time of change, and it is inevitable. Technology is growing daily, and so is the world around us. We cannot sit back and ignore the obvious turmoil that is being caused from the clash of digital natives and digital immigrants. A teacher must stand as role models for their students and embrace the new information and be a true lifelong learner. You know, with this can't be implemented overnight, but it definitely should be something that should be considered. And it's adding skills to what we already do. You know, in a day that we are judged by test scores and data and observations and all this other things, that this approach to teaching could reach even the most struggling students and give them an interest in school again. And I would rather know that I tried everything I could to benefit my students in my career than to sit back and to settle, think about how it could be. We need to be open for change, professional development, training, and we might need to help out our districts by applying for some grants. I know there's some teachers in my buildings that are like grant writing experts, and so if anybody ever needs a grant written, that's where we go and we ask them for advice and we try to copy their template of how they write. And giving our students the best is that we can is what teaching is all about. And 21st century learning not only creates a sense of wonder with the content we already teach, but it also helps to mold our students into caring, communicative, well-rounded adults that can truly make a difference in our world once they reach their adulthood. Our future is in their hands. Don't you want to make sure it's the best possible? I certainly know I do.